If you bought a starter kit right out of the box, you set it up, started playing it. First of all, congratulations. You know, greatest instrument in the world. Play the crap out of your kit. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. But this video I wanted to do because I just want to let you know that there are some things that you can do to your drums to make them sound way better than they do out of the box. So, it used to be that you get your first kit. Normally you play it 2 years, maybe 2-3 years, and then you upgrade. You get your second one. The situation is such now that manufacturers are making stuff way better than they did 15, 20 years ago. So you're actually able to hang on to your first kit a lot longer just because it's made, a lot better these days, particularly if it's coming from one of the major manufacturers, like Yamaha, Pearl, Tama, Mapex, Sonar. Like their entry-level kits are really good quality these days. So you don't necessarily have to rush out and replace it right away. If you take your time and then over a certain period of time, slowly start to change a few things, you can hang on to that kit for way longer. All right, so let's get down with this. Tip number 1, if you bought your kit new out of the box, $2.99, $3.99, whatever, $4.99, every starter kit in the market, doesn't make any difference which one it is, whether it's from an independent or from a major manufacturer, it's going to have dirt cheap heads on them. So, tip number 1, I would highly suggest somewhere within the first 2 to 3 weeks of you picking up your drums, change the tom heads almost immediately. The resonant heads are going to be fine. You can hang on to those. And when you take the top ones off, you can hang on to those as well because they will eventually make decent resonant heads. But for sure, you're going to want to swap them out. They're going to be super thin and super cheap. And changing your tom heads will right away transform the sound of the drums. Now this is assuming that the hoops out of the box are in good shape and they're 100% round. You won't have a problem. But put some new heads on there. They'll sound way better right away when you tune them up. Now if you don't know how to tune your toms, make sure you hit this video right here on how to tune your toms quick and easy. Regardless of what you may have heard or what you might think, tuning toms is super easy, man. Like there's a lot of videos out there that will make you think otherwise because they're going to have you doing all kinds of ridiculous stuff while you're tuning them. But trust me, check out my video on how to tune your toms quick and easy, and you'll get these done. Even if you're the first time doing it, you have your toms done in like 10 minutes and they'll sound great. Now, another common problem with starter kits is having your toms all of a sudden not sound good at all once you put them back on the mount. So if you're tuning your tom off the kit, you tap it, thing sounds great, put it on the mount, all of a sudden it sounds like crap again. The reason for that is this. Long time ago, when manufacturers were making drums, like even all of their high-end stuff, the tom mounts were bolted right onto the shell, like this. And manufacturers kind of figured out eventually that toms sound a lot better if they're able to resonate freely. So when you have a tom arm like that penetrating the shell, stops that from happening. So manufacturers caught onto this, and then everybody started designing their own sort of isolation mount. And the isolation mount, the idea behind it was to basically not have anything piercing the shell, which allowed the shell itself to resonate freely. Starter kit companies, the independent ones, they're not in the business of designing mounts. So they're still going to be bolted right onto the shell, which means your tom arm is going to be piercing the shell once you mount it. So that's why it sounds like crap once you put it back on the arm. It's because now you have this obstruction and it's keeping the drum from resonating. So Tip number 2, one thing that you can try anyway, is just go out to your drum shop or local music store or whatever, and just pick up a couple of straight clamps. This is kind of curved, but you can just get like a straight clamp. Looks like that. It's got a, nut on one end and one on the other end. And what you can do is change the way your toms are mounted, take them off of the bass drum, and mount them off your stands. So all you're going to do is just take your straight clamp one end onto the stand, and then on the other end, you're going to take your tom off the kit and put it onto the other end of that clamp. And what that's going to do is just sort of free it up just a little bit more, give it a little bit more room to resonate and bounce freely. And in a lot of cases, your toms will end up sounding a little bit better than they would if they were mounted right on the bass drum. Just make sure when you do it that the legs are spread all the way out, because you're going to end up with problems with, you have to adjust your tom so that it's sitting over a leg so it doesn't topple over on you or whatever. But that's another thing that you can do to sort of get the most out of your toms. It'll just help it to resonate a little bit freer when it's hanging off of a cymbal stand. Tip number 3, change that bass drum head. Take that one that's on there off and toss it immediately, and put a really good quality bass drum head on that kick. If you're new to drumming, you don't have any experience tuning drums, once you get that head on there, click on this video again. Check out my video on how to tune your bass drum quick and easy. No rocket science to it, super quick. And your kick drum is going to end up sounding way, way better with a good quality head on there. I suggest trying to find a bass drum head that has some sort of muffling on it. So either, an Evans EMAT or the Aquarian Super Kick is a great sounding kick head. Remo's got a couple that has like a foam thing on it. Get something that has some muffling on the skin. The reason why you want to do that is because you want to be able to get the biggest sound out of your kick without stuffing it with blankets. Don't be one of those drummers, please, that stuff their kick drums so that it looks like a load of laundry in there. That's not going to do anything for the sound of your bass drum. It's just going to sound horrible. At best, if you want to use a pillow or something, you can get a pillow and put it in there lengthwise so that one end's touching the front head and one end's touching the batter end. That's all you're going to need if you need anything at all in there. Or you can get a blanket, fold it up, and just lay it across the bottom. That's all you need, man. Don't stuff your bass drum with blankets and clothes and whatever else you got in the house, because you're going to kill the sound of your kick. And even the cheap bass drums will sound really good once you tune them up right. Another thing that you can do with your bass drum is cut a hole in the front head. Now, the hole basically is mainly for miking, for setting your kit up on stage. You want to put a hole in the front head so you can put the mic in it. That's really the only function of the hole in the front head. But there is an added benefit to doing that because it adds punch to your kick drum. So you can put a hole in your front head to get a little bit more thump out of it. And that's easy enough to do. Like, you can get these for a couple of bucks. You can get these plastic holes that are already cut out. All you got to do is stick it on the kit, and then get an X-Acto knife or something sharp, and then just cut the hole out, and then you're good. But yeah, that's it, man. Change the head, put a good drum head on there. Watch my tuning video, get it all tuned up so you can get that maximum thumpification. And then cut a hole in the front of that logo skin on the front there. And then your kit's gonna sound awesome. Tip number 4, and this one is super important, man. Upgrade your snare drum. The snare that comes with your kit will do the job temporarily. This is not something that you have to do like super right away, like changing the heads or whatever, but you're gonna wanna upgrade your snare. There are a lot of snares that you can get out there now from companies, all of the major manufacturers, Yamaha, Pearl, Tama, Mapex. All of these companies have really affordable, like under 200 bucks, really good quality snare drums that you can put on your kit. It's cool to have great sounding toms, that's one thing, but the sound of your kick and the sound of your snare, that's your drum kit. That is what makes your kit what it is. As far as I'm concerned, man, it's kick and snare. So somewhere within the first year, maybe, of picking up your kit, save up a few bucks and take a look at upgrading your snare drum. Like I said, you'll be able to find one probably somewhere between 150 and 200 bucks. Or you can hop on eBay and find a used one, whatever. As long as it's good quality, doesn't make any difference if it's new or used. As long as it's a good quality snare, you're gonna love playing your kit so much more when you got a great sounding snare on there. Tip number 5, and I saved this for number 5 because this one is gonna take a little bit of time. This is something that you're gonna wanna do over a span of time because it's gonna start to add up. But tip number 5, start to slowly and gradually upgrade your cymbals. If you paid 500 bucks or under for your starter kit, brand new, and it came with a set of cymbals, I can guarantee you they sound like crap. They basically put those cymbals in there just so you have something to hit on, while you're playing your kit for the first time. But those are not by any means cymbals that are meant to be kept for your normal cymbals for any long period of time. They're basically disposable. They just put them in there so you got something to hit on. So eventually you want to start upgrading your cymbals. You can start with a good pair of hi-hats or a really good quality ride. You don't have to spend a lot of money because manufacturers make different tiers, right, for cymbal lines. So they have entry-level cymbals and then intermediate line of cymbals or whatever. I highly suggest checking out the Peisty PST7 line. It's probably the best sounding sort of mid-level series of cymbals out there. Sabian also has the new B8 Pro. I can't remember what they're actually calling them now, but they've sort of upgraded their B8 Pro line and they've added a bunch of different models and stuff. They're actually sounding really good these days. Now the cool thing with the cheap cymbals that come with these starter kits is that they have this sort of cool, trashy quality to them. So don't toss them. Don't get rid of them. Once you start getting better cymbals and stuff, experiment with your old ones and start making stacks and, pop some rivets in one or drill some holes in one. Like just, you can have fun experimenting with the cheap cymbals because the trashier, thinner cymbals have a cool quality to them. And if you screw it up, like who cares? Like they're not worth anything, right? But you can make any kind of stack out of any cheap cymbal. So yeah, hang on to those. Like don't toss them, keep them aside. But yeah, slowly start to upgrade your cymbals. Big difference. So yeah, man, these are just some significant changes that you can make to your cheap kit that will improve the sound. It's going to be a lot more fun to play. And yeah, and whatever you end up getting rid of, like don't toss it. Like it's not garbage. Just hang on to them because you never know, right? Like this is the original snare that came with this kit. As you can see, I completely stripped it. And I ended up using the hoops on another snare. And I saved all the tension rods. I got them in a bag somewhere. And who knows? I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I'll turn it into something later. Like maybe I'll throw some die-cast hoops on it and turn it into a nice side snare or something. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I never really throw anything out until I exhaust all of my options. If I know I can't do anything with it anymore, then I'll toss it. But in the meantime, I'll just stick it in the corner for later. Slowly upgrading your hardware is also a good idea to do because the hardware that came with your kit is really flimsy. It's not really gonna last that long. So, you know, get yourself a new pedal. There's some really good pedals that you can get out there for under $100. Upgrade your hi-hat stand. These are the two that's gonna get the most wear. So, you know, getting a better hi-hat stand and a better pedal will just make the playability of your drums a lot better. Stands, you can buy cheap stands. Like if you're not planning to hit the road or anything, cheap stands will do you fine if it's just gonna sit in your house. You don't have to get like super heavy duty stuff. So yeah, man, I mean, it can actually be a little bit of a fun project to kind of pimp out your starter kit. And it just makes it a lot more fun to play while you're learning on it. It's gonna sound better and you're just gonna be a lot happier with it. Final tip, of course, make sure you subscribe to this channel for the coolest drum lessons on the internet. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you next video.